Hey guys, we're back. We're doing another breakdown by the mountain here. We're going to be going over this match between Felipe Pena out of Gracie Baja and Haisam Rida out of the B team. This match is from their most recent Who's Number 1 Super Fight interaction. Some background on Felipe Pena. He's known for playing a lot of guard, a lot of inversion, especially for a big guy that's kind of not the norm, but he uses his guard to wrestle up a lot, likes to go to the back. Pretty common thing you'll see here. Multiple time ADCC champion with wins over Gordon. Here you see Haisam Rida. He's known for his judo. I believe he studied judo as well in Japan. Here you're seeing him, pretty dynamic passer, pretty kinetic person, moves all over, really explosive person, long legs, long frame. That's why they call him a giraffe. You're also seeing him here. This is one of his biggest highlights he hit recently was this armbar, pretty quick into a match against Cyborg at the most recent ADCC championships. So see the match starting out. Felipe immediately pulls. Haisam kind of staying a little stagnant, a little square, but he's still pretty far, interacting with just his hands as we see here. Coming out, he's making connections, seeing head snaps, but he is going out to an angle, which is good. Staying pretty active for the first minute of this match. Felipe seems to be kind of keeping it pretty cool, not so super active. Haisam's doing most of the energy expenditure, I'd say, at this time. What we see here is Felipe's making attempts at wrist controls that maybe would develop to leg controls. He likes to use half guard a lot and variations of De La Hiva, so I imagine that's what he would be working into at this point. Haisam seems kind of hesitant to do anything, but tries to get some sort of angles with his Toriano attempts. But right now, it's apparent that they're more or less just trying to feel each other out, not overcommitting to anything too early on, just trying to essentially see what sort of vulnerabilities and angles each one might be able to get. But Haisam is kind of being a little bit more hesitant to engage. As you can see that Felipe is approaching him in the guard. Although I don't think Felipe is doing a ton of effort in being super aggressive, Haisam is the one backing up. So to the judges, that's not going to look favorable in terms of aggression versus Felipe. There's what I was talking about, that half guard, pseudo De La Hiva type position. He's keeping his legs pinched. It's a pretty powerful pinch. You'll see later he does some follow-up sweeps, I believe. They're doing this hand fighting. Haisam is kind of keeping the inside pin, but it's still not apparent. Right here, Felipe uses that hand pinch essentially to come up. I guess technically you'd say that was a sweep, but Haisam did have a second there and then chose to pull to close guard. So I want to go over the sequence again. It's probably one of the more significant moments in this match. So you see he has this leg pinched here. As you can see, it's a pretty tight grip. Shearing forces pinching his knees together. He follows through to the single leg. Haisam really just didn't probably expect that kind of a grip. He gets a single leg, but he switches off to this double leg attempt, which is why he falls to the ground. Haisam quickly goes to the close guard. He's got pretty long legs, so this might be an optimal position. I do know that he gets a lot of arm bars a lot, so maybe he's feeling that he could get arm bars from close guard. So Felipe here, he's doing a good job posturing, controlling the wrists. It doesn't seem like he's too eager to get to his feet. Just looks like he's essentially controlling the wrists. That was his attempt to essentially split the legs. Doesn't look like he wants to build too much height, maybe getting counter-swept himself. At this point, he's just more so using knee wedges in the back of his hips. Maybe that was his attempt, but he's being pretty slow to get up at this point. He doesn't seem too eager to get out of this closed guard position. This hand fighting really doesn't go anywhere typically. I believe that leg was attempted to go over. Maybe he feels like he can't safely split the legs if he stood up, so he's trying to do it there. Haisam looks to go into maybe some cross ashi here, maybe a potential leg attack. You see the cross lag grip there. The cross lag grip is what's allowing him to enter. It's actually a fairly good attempt. I know Felipe really likes 50-50. I saw him use it a lot to try to counter a lot of Gordon's attacks to kind of resist getting past. He would put Gordon routinely in 50-50. But Haisam actually has a real shot right here to actually do something. Ordinarily, what I'd like to see Haisam doing is actually trying to control that secondary leg, the one with the blue label on it. I think he could, come up and he could do some sort of a double trouble attack. It seems like he's trying to maybe get some sort of a lat knee bar at this point, but his hips are just not in the right place. They're on the behind the butt. They want to be nearest to him, so he has to really rotate his knees more to the left. He could stay in this 50-50 position, maybe get him down to a butt, or go to outside ashi. It really just depends. See, he comes up, but he doesn't really continue attacking. This just gives him the opportunity here to pull guard again. I think that might have been a good opportunity for him to kind of keep the pressure. I think he should have just kept wrestling up, but maybe he was just hesitant for some sort of sweep counter or something like that. But now Haisam is being told Haizam's being told to stop being so hesitant. It looks like he's essentially walking backwards. That's just not good for the judges. Ordinarily, what you're wanting to aim to do is you're actually wanting to go side to side here. That's usually a way that you can create better angle, as well as not appeal to the judges as running away, but instead circling is a better option than backing up frequently backwards. Here, he's again trying to attempt that split squat. With the split squat, he is trying to put that V-grip in the armpit, which is good, but what he really wants to do is he essentially wants to get the shoulders flat here. He's not really making a big attempt. It looks like he's not trying to commit to his head to the chest, which is ordinarily what he'd want to do here. It looks like he's giving essentially Felipe a big ability to maybe potentially threat lever sweeps of some sort with the foot position he had. Just more hand fighting, more hand fighting. I'd want to see more footwork side to side. Looks like he's staying too square. I know Felipe's not known for leg lock entrances, but I would say that those leg lock entrances could be a thing that ordinarily on most other people. You did see him go for that lever sweep variation there. So that could have been something, but it seems like he's sort of hesitant to engage. Doesn't seem like he knows exactly how to deal with his guard. I kind of liked what he was doing earlier by creating those angles and passing the knees side to side, though. At this point, I believe Felipe is favored by the judges. The battle is happening here at the hands. The hand fight right here for this top underhook position, or possibly a 2-on-1 position. That's really a lot of time when you're playing half guard. That's where a lot of the battle's happening here. I know that Felipe likes to do bear traps a lot, so that's what you're seeing there with that attempt. It looks like Haisam's ready for that, but there was an attempt there definitely for the bear trap, which is like the calf slice variation, or a calf slice type of finish. It does seem like Felipe's kind of staying stagnant, but he's still walking towards him, which gives a good impression to the judges. Haisam is opting to walk backwards, which I think is signaling to the judges that he's not wanting to engage as much, but I wouldn't say that Felipe is being that aggressive compared to the other. This is a good attempt here. I think Haisam probably would have a better chance if he was doing essentially more of those. He seems very well built for that. In previous matches, he's been good about that. I don't know if I would really call that a stalling call. Maybe the only reason they're calling that a stalling call is because he backed up in it, but he literally just tried to do a rolling Kimura. So I wouldn't really say he's being too stally at this point. He's trying to circle. It does look like he's not making any effort to try to point the knees away or try to hand fight as much. I think he should constantly be cross-stepping, but we're not really seeing that at this point. Cross-stepping is when you take, like, so here it'd take his right leg, and he'd go outside the right leg of Felipe, and maybe he could switch that up and add some misdirection. I like that he's keeping him flat on his back. This would be optimal for going into Toreandos. I think that he's kind of playing into Felipe's game right now. This you can see here with the legs, he's trying to do more of those lever sweeps. You can see the hand is gripping on the bottom Achilles right there, just kind of opening up a lot of potential sweeps. He has that powerful pinch, so you can see there's a really good clip, and that's how he's able to kind of wrestle up here into this position. Haisam does have a whizzer, which is good, but you can see that he kind of easily comes down. I couldn't tell if he turned it into a double, but it looked like he could kind of like sort of did a slouch single leg takedown where he was able to keep him pinned. Now he's sort of like just a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. I still think Haisam, if he kicked his legs back and forth, he'd be able to essentially kind of fight this sort of camping position. I don't know if Haisam's really known for butterfly position though. But if he could pommel his legs inside, maybe fight the hands, he'd have some sort of a chance to come up here. But it looks like Felipe's just putting on like a good amount of pressure, trying to go into half guard passing himself. But you see what he was doing here versus what Haisam was doing? He's trying to get chest to chest, which is what I think Haisam could have done a better job of. If he tried to get chest to chest, I think it would have been more optimal for his passing strategy with Felipe. But I think maybe he was hesitant because he was worried about lever sweeps. A lot of time, if you're not good with your knees, you essentially are going to be more vulnerable to lever sweeps. He gets the pass here, he gets his knees through, he's got the legs crossed. That can be a little difficult. I think Haisam should be essentially trying to get on his side, but it looks like he's not doing it too vigorously. That arm is stuck there. He's got to really work to get that elbow back inside. But it looks like the elbow, his left elbow here, is coming across the center line. He does a little bit of a chair sit and manages to get chest to back. It's not looking good for Haisam at this point. Haisam needs to really... I think Haisam just didn't really control the wrist there well. So going over a few things I think Haisam could have done to maybe help change the outcome of this. It looked like he really wasn't committing his head to the chest enough in these positions, which would have caused like subsequent amounts of pressure to him over time, maybe cooking him, and then ultimately leading to opportunities for chest to chest connection, which is what you aim to do anytime you're doing sort of half guard passing. At this moment, it's not the first time that this had happened. It had happened earlier in the match, and Felipe had managed to come up to a single leg and try to finish that double leg. I think he could have been a little bit more aware that this would happen and this would be something he did. I think that maybe if he tried to punch in some underhooks or be a little bit less inclined to start hopping away and turn his back, I think he would have had a better ability to defend this. He does come up and he goes to a whizzer position, but it doesn't look like he uses much of his whizzer. So I do like that he has the whizzer here. It looks like it's a very strong overhook. Maybe try to use some of that judo that he knows. He could control the far elbow. Maybe he just didn't feel like he could get the proper angle to get the inner thigh throw of this. Maybe he could have hopped down or hopped into him. It looked like it was a pretty, Uchimata-able situation though, but maybe it just didn't feel like he had the right angle. But it looks like he's a pretty deep whizzer. I think he could have done something with that. But hindsight's always 20/20, so you don't really ever know with these things. I'm sort of surprised Felipe was able to get that double leg. Looked like he was able to just get to the far leg. I couldn't really tell. Now, essentially, we're looking at Haisam, and he's trying to pummel his feet inside. He's pushing on the head, but I think he should be pummeling it for underhooks if he's going to be in this position. I think that right now, in this position, it just looks like he's tiring out his feet. Maybe he could go from scoop grips, go into half guard here. It doesn't really look like he has too much of a established guard here, though. Kind of looks like Felipe is just able to freely start stacking with pressure. And Felipe does exactly what I think Haisam could have been doing. And then he ultimately gets chest to chest. Maybe Haisam's tired at this point from a lot of the movement. I feel like at this point, he has that triangle, which isn't bad. I think he could still try to do something to get into a half guard, but he could go for a lockdown or try to pummel in a butterfly hook. He's got those long legs. He might be able to do it. Doesn't look like the ankle would be too impossible to get. But now he's definitely mounted. At this point, it's not really too detrimental, I feel, until you get the ankles just under the small of your back. I would like to see him using those legs to start creating pendulum side to side to create some shakiness. It's not too far gone. He might be tired at this point, which I think is the biggest problem. And then he does get the elbow across Felipe's center line, which kind of allows him to do this sort of loose chair sit into a back take. Although it didn't look like it was perfectly clean, but it was obviously good enough to get to the back take. The last thing I'm going to add is I feel like Haisam could have done a better job at attacking the hands here. It looked like the arms went in pretty easily for Felipe at this point. I would have liked to see him grab the wrists and maybe start stuffing them. His head looks like it could very easily get to the ground if he was to control Felipe's left wrist here, and then maybe go above his head, maybe go for some 2-on-1s. That would do two things. It would accomplish protecting against the primary arm, which would be the left arm, which would come in for the submission here, as well as allowing him to get his shoulders and head to the mat. So I think he could have done a better job of doing that, and maybe at least saved himself from the sub that would, happen right here anyway. The last critique I'll make is that it seemed like Haisam spent a lot of time square and just standing right in front of Felipe in a distance where he could easily get his feet attached to his feet, doing some koichis or different types of sweeps or hooks, or if maybe Felipe was more of a leg lock oriented player, we could have also seen leg lock entrances on Haisam as well. So I think that going forward, I would advise Haisam to probably not be so square up to his opponents. I thought he did a really good job initially trying to create the angle. I'm not really sure why he didn't maintain that. I don't know if he just got nervous, or maybe he thought half guard essential camping was more of what he wanted to do, but it looked like from what I saw, he would have needed to get his head into the chest and start trying to get chest to chest more to successfully half guard camp, or he would have needed to maintain essential Toriando pressure, keeping him flat on his shoulders and going around. I would have liked to see him be more dynamic. I think that he could have done a better job using his abilities that he's known for that way, which would have probably given him a better chance at winning, right? Well, hey guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys liked this week's video and breakdown. If there's any matches that you want, like, comment, subscribe, send me some suggestions. I'm willing to do local matches. If you want to see me do some local, regular people matches, that's cool. I can also just stick to these Who's Number One, ADCC matches, or any other ones. Give me some suggestions. I'd love to hear what you guys think of the breakdowns, or any tips or any feedback that you want to give. So like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next week.